The phone vibrated against the wooden nightstand, a low hum that sliced through the silence of the pre-dawn apartment. My heart lurched, not from the sound but from the name glowing on the screen. Lila. A selfie lit up the notification. Her sun-kissed face, wind-tangled hair, and a turquoise ocean stretching behind her. The caption read, "Wish you were here." My thumb hovered, trembling, as a sour knot twisted in my gut. I wasn't supposed to see this. She didn't know I had her location. She didn't know I was standing in the same beachside hotel room she'd sworn she was visiting alone. The air in the room felt thick, heavy with the scent of salt and sunscreen that clung to her suitcase in the corner. I'd flown out to surprise her, picturing her joy when I showed up unannounced. 2 years together, and I still believed in grand gestures. But now, staring at her selfie, my pulse hammered in my ears. The background wasn't just any beach. It was this beach, the one visible through the sliding glass doors of her hotel room, where I stood barefoot on cold tile, my reflection ghostly in the pre-dawn light. The bed was unmade, sheets twisted like a confession. 2 wine glasses sat on the dresser, one smudged with her coral lipstick, the other clean but unmistakably used. I wanted to believe it was nothing. A friend maybe. A coworker. She'd mentioned a work conference, hadn't she? My mind scrambled, stitching together excuses as fast as it tore them apart. Lila wasn't like that. She couldn't be. Not after the nights we'd spent mapping out our future. Kids, a house with a porch swing, winters in Maine. But the glasses stared back at me, glinting accusations in the dim light. I unlocked my phone, opened the tracking app we'd shared, just in case, and watched the dot pulse exactly where I stood. She was here. Or had been. The selfie was time-stamped 10 minutes ago. I sank onto the edge of the bed, the mattress creaking under my weight. My fingers tightened around the phone as I typed, deleted, typed again. Where are you right now? No, too confrontational. Miss you. How's the trip? Too weak. I settled on gorgeous pic. You alone? My thumb hit send before I could overthink it. The message marked delivered, then read. Dots danced, stopped, danced again. My chest tightened, each breath shallow, as if the air might betray me too. Work stuff, her reply came quick and curt. Just chilling by the beach. You okay? The words felt hollow, like a script she'd rehearsed. I pictured her typing, maybe glancing at someone beside her, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. My eyes darted to the wine glasses again, then to the open suitcase spilling her clothes, her favorite sundress, a pair of heels she never wore for me. The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in, the ocean's rhythmic crash outside mocking my unraveling. I stood, pacing, my bare feet sticking to the tile. The balcony door was ajar, letting in a breeze that carried the faint sound of laughter from the beach below. Her laughter? No, it couldn't be. But doubt gnawed at me, sharp and relentless. I scrolled through our texts, searching for clues I'd missed. Last week she'd been distant, her replies short, her excuses piling up. Late nights at the office, a sudden trip for a client emergency. I'd believed her because I wanted to, because love makes you blind to the cracks until they're chasms. Lila. I whispered to the empty room, testing the weight of her name. It felt foreign now, like a word I'd mispronounced my whole life. I opened the selfie again, zooming in. Her smile was radiant, but her eyes, they looked elsewhere, past the camera, past me. And there, in the corner of the frame, a shadow. Not hers. Broader, taller, unmistakable. My stomach churned, while rising as I gripped the phone so hard the case creaked. I needed to know. I needed to see. Grabbing my jacket, I slipped out of the room, the hallway dim and smelling of stale carpet cleaner. The elevator ride was suffocating. Each floor's ding a countdown to something I wasn't ready to face. The lobby was alive with early risers, tourists in flip-flops, a concierge tapping at a keyboard. I stepped onto the boardwalk, the salt air sharp in my lungs, and scanned the beach. Couples dotted the sand, but none were her. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Heading to a meeting soon. Call you later? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the tracking app and watched the dot shift slightly, moving toward the boardwalk's end, where a cluster of beachfront bars glowed under string lights. My legs moved before my brain caught up, carrying me past vendors hawking seashell necklaces, past kids chasing waves. The air was warm, but my skin prickled with cold dread. What would I say if I found her? What if I was wrong? What if I wasn't? The bar was crowded, reggae music pulsing through the open walls. I spotted her immediately, her hair catching the light, her laugh cutting through the noise. She sat at a high-top table, her sundress slipping off one shoulder, her hand resting on a man's arm. He was older, maybe late 30s, with a jawline sharp enough to cut through my denial. Their heads were close, her smile intimate, the kind she used to save for me. I stood frozen, the world tilting, my heart beat a drum in my ears. "Lila," I said louder than I meant to. Heads turned, but hers snapped up, her eyes wide with shock, then guilt, then something harder, defiance. The man beside her shifted, his hand dropping from her waist. "Evan," she said, her voice a mix of panic and plea. "What are you doing here?" "You sent me a selfie," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "I sent you the GPS. From your room." I held up my phone, the tracking app still open, the dot blinking over us. Her face drained of color, her lips parting but no words coming out. The man stood, muttering something about getting drinks, and disappeared into the crowd. "Coward." "I can explain," she started, but her voice cracked, betraying her. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but all I could do was stare at the woman I thought I knew. The one who'd promised forever, who'd cried in my arms when her dad died, who'd laughed at my terrible cooking. Was any of it real? "Explain," I said, the word sharp enough to cut. "Explain the wine glasses. The heels." My voice broke on the last word, and I hated myself for it. She looked away, her hands twisting in her lap, and in that moment I knew. There was no explanation that could stitch us back together. "I didn't mean for this," she whispered, tears brimming. "It just happened." The words were a blade, slicing through the last threads of hope. I wanted to hate her, but all I felt was grief, for us, for the future we'd lost, for the fool I'd been. I turned to leave, the bar's noise swallowing her soft. "Evan, wait." The boardwalk stretched ahead, endless and empty, the ocean roaring beside it. My phone buzzed again. Her name, her apologies, her lies. I didn't read them. Instead, I opened the tracking app one last time, deleted her from my shared contacts, and watched the dot vanish. The beach was hers now. So was the betrayal. I walked into the night, the waves crashing behind me, carrying away the pieces of what we'd been.